guys, we're going to do today some heat soak insulation, and we're going to minimize the amount of heat soak it's going to be getting into the cold air intake. So if you do have a cold air intake, you're going to have a lot of heat coming off the engine. It's going to be sucked in. You don't want that. You want cold air, cold dense air getting in there, better ignition, better response. If you do have an open cold air intake system, you want to try and minimize the heat. So you can either go for insulation for here, it keeps the bonnet a bit cooler, and you've also got this fiberglass heat wrap. I'm going to heat wrap the safety cover, goes over the turbo. I'm going to heat wrap the cold air intake that goes into the turbo. This can heat up, heat gets into the air. I'm also going to wrap the exhaust for the turbo. Can't really get down to the manifold there. I'm going to have to strip all this out. So I will pause the video, give you a more detailed into heat soak, and as you can see I've already started doing this. Basically, I just wanted to test it to see how it goes. Next thing you know, I'm in there doing it fully. Should have started the video earlier, but I didn't. But basically, get this stuff online. You want to wrap everything up as much as possible. Stops the heat getting into places and stops the heat coming out. So your turbo and exhaust is going to be the main culprit here. That disperses a lot of heat, especially on these supercharged engines. So I'm going to wrap as much as possible, put the heat shield back on, that's all wrapped up. Anytime I stopped the car and was under the bonnet, this thing was absolutely scalding with heat. So I'm going to wrap that up and see how it goes. So I'm going to put this on to high speed and just rip through it, and then I'll give you more of a detailed into heat soak and the benefits and where you can get this stuff. All right, let's get into it. Alrighty, so we finished it. Basically got the exhaust manifold that's going into the back of the turbo. That's all covered. This is where most of the heat's coming from. Turbo itself. Now you can get a turbo sleeve that you can wrap around this. I will order at a later date. I believe this is a KO3 turbo. It's a wee bit harder to get online. All I can see is T1, T2s and T3s, T4s. So I will get that. Just a heads up guys, this is a fiberglass. There are a lot of little pin fibers that come off this. Wear gloves. I started putting this on, didn't wear gloves, now my hands are itchy as hell. Little pins in it. Also, it gets everywhere, falls everywhere, so if you do have pets, make sure you blow vac all this away from your property. You don't want to get in their paws. So anyway, I'm going to go to the shop and get another. You'll be getting these metal cable ties. I need to go and get a bigger one for down here to hold this in place. And then once that's done, I'm going to install that back on, put the cover on. It doesn't look very nice, but at the end of the day, I'm trying to minimize the heat soak, and I'll put a link in the description also. You can go on and read up the pros and cons of it all. Just a short one today guys, and hope that helps. I was just going to quickly jump over to the diagram that I've got here. It's going to explain the areas where most of this heat soak builds up in the engine bay. These generate a lot of heat, especially the turbo, and the inlet manifold just produce a lot of heat into the engine bay, and then your cold air intake it sucks it all in. So as you can see, that exhaust manifold, extreme heat source, and the turbocharger, that's also extreme high temperature. It radiates into the engine bay and surrounding components, and it just builds up the heat in there. So we want to try and minimize it, hence why I've done the wrapping around the inlets and exhaust manifold. And now we move on to the cylinder head and valve cover. It's also part of the engine, generates heat into the engine bay. There's not much really you can do with the cylinder head and valve cover. Maybe a bonnet vent, blow the air in, cool that down. And then your intake manifold and throttle body, which I also wrapped. I wrapped all this, guys, and then I took the car a good thrashing, brought it home, popped the bonnet. I felt the difference straight away. The heat has reduced massively in there, so that's definitely going to help. So then you get your intercooler piping. This is where your cold air comes through back into the engine. Because of the amount of heat that's generated up in the engine bay, that intercooler piping is going to absorb some of that heat, and then your dense cold air is going to be dropped in temperature, so that's a must there as well. So if we're looking at cooling tips, guys, your turbo, always with a turbo car, if you get a stop start, turn it off, keep the engine running when you stop, because if you've been thrashing that turbo is massively high on temperature. It needs the oil to keep running through it to cool it down. If your engine's turned off straight away, there's no oil to cool it down, and that turbo just sits there and cooks, and then it'll cook the oil that's sitting in that area. So yeah, so hope that helps, guys. We'll get cooling tips. You've got areas of high temperature, as you can see in the diagram. Always, after driving the car, let the turbo cool down before you drive the car. Let everything heat up a bit, get that oil moving, get it thinned a bit. I also just done a video on engine coolant and oil, and how much important the oil is for a car, especially turbos. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next time, okay? And hope you enjoy the video. Thumbs up, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.